What's going on, people? Welcome back to Curtis Shaw TV, back with another live stream. Big up to everyone locked in. Hope you are well, and we'll talk about the latest Arsenal news. It's kind of news that's not news. You know, there's a lot going on, but kind of nothing going on. It's a big contradiction, but we'll break it down anyway. Big up to everyone locked in. Hope you are well on this. What day is it, man? Thursday, people. I was watching basketball last night, man. Halliburton and then, man, again, you know, I'm telling you, I think it's the Pacers this year, man. It's the year of the underdog. Everyone thought OKC. I think the Pacers are going to run it. But big up to everyone locked in. Hope you are well. Make sure you hit the like button. Subscribe if you haven't already to the channel. We got a lot to talk about today. Hope everybody is keeping well and enjoying the break of no Arsenal games at the moment. But the transfer window can become a little bit stressful as well. Let's see who we're going to end up with. First of all, you're right. Prayers to everybody from that Air India crash. I saw that on the news a couple of hours ago, man. Looks terrible, so hope you're well. And hope everybody is safe. I'm not sure about the outcome, what has happened from that. Big up to Will, who said he's starting a 7-day fast. I'll be honest, you know. I think the most I've done on a water fast is 3 days. I can't lie. I did a 2-day one about 7 or 8 weeks ago. But I think the 3-day fast is the longest one that I've done. What I will say for anyone who's ever done them, like it kind of does get easier as you go along. A couple of my friends have done 5-day fasts. One or two of my friends have done 7-day fasts. The first day is, the first day is hard work, man, because your body is just craving food and used to flavors and you're just drinking water and water. It's not easy, but it is good. I have to admit, I felt like quite energetic from it. And just to give your body that break of having to constantly, you know, break down food. So I would recommend, I do, fasting is something that I do recommend, but 7 days not easy, I can't lie. But big up, man. 7-day fast is good. Headache goes after day 3. Do you know what? I never had a headache in the first 3 days. I was just the first day I was like craving food, but then it kind of worked after that. But yeah, man, big up to you on the 7-day fast anyway. Jay said his sister works at that airport. It's mad. Oh man, sad to see, man. Big up, Steve. Hope you are well. Big up to everyone, man. Vixen, my bro-in-law, is from that city in India. I'm a British Indian Kenyan. Thoughts with all involved, of course, man. Chris had been doing a 5-day fast every month for the last 2 years. Never felt better, eh? Big up, man. Harvey said, big up, Curtis. Hope you and the fambo are well, bro. Off to pick up my new car tomorrow. Jeez. Going from a banger to an A5 S-Line. Progress is a blessing. Yo, I respect that. I respect that highly, man. You know, you're going from that banger to the S-Line. You better get ready for the petrol bill, but no, I'm sure you're prepared for that. Big up yourself, man. Arsenal doing a 5-year fast from trophies. Well, let's get into it. I won't waffle anymore. You know, we talk about numerous subjects on here, basketball, this, that, the other. It is what it is. I have to build up because the transfer business, it's frustrating, but you have to sort of learn not to get too caught up in it. But as a fan and as a content creator, it's very difficult not to, you know. So yeah, it is what it is. I just want to say before we start the show, football fascinates me sometimes. And football fans fascinate me. And probably even myself at times, you know, when you look back at some of the reactions and stuff. But Trent Alexander-Arnold's going to Real Madrid. He's going to Real Madrid. You're moving to a new country. What's the first thing you probably do when you move to that new country? Even before you move there, you're probably going to try and learn the language. I think it would help. So he does his announcement video in Spanish. I was like, wow, Trent's speaking Spanish. I can't believe it, with the hint of Scouse accent. And I'm seeing Liverpool fans annihilate him. Annihilate him. He's a rat. He's a rat. See, I knew he lined this move up. He's been learning Spanish for 2 years. This is why they hate him. I'm like, yo, relax. It's gone. It's over. Everything this guy does, they hate him. Oh, he did that on purpose, and this. He's manipulated the fans, and he's probably known for a while he was moving to Real Madrid. I'm sure that deal wasn't agreed 4 weeks ago. It's probably been 6 months, a year. He knew, so he learns the language. And they're going crazy because he's speaking Spanish. They wanted him to turn up and like, hey, mate, I'm delighted to be here at Real Madrid. I grew up, I watched Brookside. Steven Gerrard's my idol. Can't wait to play the Bernabeu, lad. Like, the man spoke Spanish. Relax, let him go, man. Let the man go. I thought they were applauding him last month when Klopp said treat him good. They applauded him. They're so angry. It's funny, if he wasn't speaking Spanish, they'd have accepted it. But then they heard the Spanish, they went crazy. Listen, it ain't all fans. It ain't all fans. I can't lie. But I just thought the reaction was amazing. They're like, what? He's speaking Spanish. What does it matter, man? The man's gone. Look, Trent is all right. Let him play, man. It's gone to Real Madrid. Hala Madrid. I can't wait to see him play for Madrid. Anyway. We'll move on. I don't want to wind up Liverpool fans. I like Liverpool as a club, but let him play football, man. They were applauding him last month. Anyway, I thought that wasn't a bad Scouse accent from me. Any Liverpool fans or Scousers in the chat? What do you reckon to my Liverpool accent then? Liverpool? Steven Gerrard, Brookside, Jimmy Corkill, lad. I'm going to Real Madrid. What they booing me for? Calling him a rat? I think that's not bad. Anyway, AGT was skipping super chats on here. He can't help it, man. The emotion spills over, Anyway, let me move on. I really don't want to wind up Liverpool fans. We're going through enough as it is. Let's talk about Arsenal. I was going to go live yesterday and go crazy. I'll be real. I was going to go live and go crazy because I saw Victor Gyokeres' agent is currently meeting with Arsenal officials. So I'm like, okay, I'm not planning on going live. However, do I go live and start going mad and getting all excited? And I actually decided against it. The reason I didn't do it was because the source, I'm not sure, right? I'm not sure about the source, where it came from. So I'm thinking, I don't want to get too excited by it. Then we hear this morning, apparently, the agent met with Arsenal and with Manchester United. So this situation is all a bit strange. I believe what we are seeing at the moment with Arsenal and Gyökeres and Sesko, we are watching real life Tom and Jerry. Tom and Jerry. You know Tom and Jerry back in the day? You had the woman in the kitchen. You only ever saw her legs. You never saw the top half of her body. And Tom and Jerry just running around. Tom and Jerry was an elite cartoon, by the way. Unreal. This is Tom and Jerry right now. So what it is, Arsenal want Sesko. There's issues with Sesko. So then to make Leipzig move different, they're going to have a meeting with Gyökeres and put it out there in the public. Doing that, they're hoping that maybe Leipzig change their mind on something and go, actually, they might go and get Gyökeres. We need the bag. Just get the deal done. It's a real-life game of cat and mouse. Tom and Jerry. Tom and Jerry was elite, no doubt. I still believe Arsenal signed Sesko. I do. I just think there's too much information around it. However, I do think we're still involved in the Gyökeres situation a little bit. So the word that came out yesterday from the Record in Portugal was Victor Gyökeres' agent is currently meeting with Arsenal officials. Arsenal is the club closest to submitting an official offer. The player believes the project matches his ambition. Arsenal are about to make an official offer, right? So, I mean, it's interesting. You look at Manchester United. A few days ago, they're being linked with Victor Gyökeres. Today, Manchester United are being linked with Osimhen, a player that, by the way, I think I would take Osimhen at Arsenal as well. So they're probably doing the same thing. They're thinking, hang on a minute. The price is changing. So everybody, all these three strikers at the moment, Osimhen, Sesko, Gyökeres, it's all like cat and mouse. We thought Osimhen was going Saudi. He turns it down at the last minute. So he's back on the European market. We thought Gyökeres was going to Arsenal. Then it looked like he was going to United. Now we're hearing rumours they want more money for him. Then we thought Sesko is going to Arsenal. It's done. Now Leipzig are asking for more money. It's a crazy situation that is probably going to drag. And is very frustrating, to be honest. So apparently this story developed as well, because what it said at first was that Gyökeres' agent was meeting with Arsenal. It turns out this morning, apparently he was meeting with Arsenal and Manchester United to just figure out how things go. Interested in, on the radar, linked with, in talks with, monitoring, thinking of, scouting, negotiating. It's buzzword central, isn't it, people? It's buzzword central. I said this the other day. I almost feel, I don't know what the right word is. I won't say guilty because it isn't my fault, but I almost feel like I don't want to do a show and talk about things until they happen. But ultimately, I'm trying to make content. And the way Arsenal do content, I might not do a show for the next 4 weeks. But it's kind of boring, frustrating, having these conversations, watching it develop. Is this an Arsenal problem? Is this a football problem? I'm speaking to Arsenal fans in the chat, and I know there's fans of other clubs in the chat, so you can let me know if your club does this. I feel like with certain clubs, they're linked with a player on Monday and they sign the player by about Friday. I feel like with Arsenal, we're linked with the player on Monday and we sign the player the following month, 6 weeks later on the Monday, after 20 days of talking about signing the player. Why? We're not Arsenal from 2 or 3 years ago that we're finishing 5th, that we're struggling to convince players to join us. I'm sure Sesko wants to play for Arsenal. I'm sure Gyökeres wants to play for Arsenal. I'm sure Osimhen wants to play for Arsenal. What is the difficulty in getting these players signed? What's the problem? They want to play for us. We know we've got the money. We're finishing 2nd. We're an attractive club to go to. What is the problem? It almost feels like Arsenal don't even know which striker they really want. It's like, yeah, we kind of prefer Sesko, but we'll take Gyökeres, and Berta wants Gyökeres, but Arteta kind of likes Sesko, and we'll figure it out. I thought these things were already done months ago. Arteta said they did this months and months ago. We've been planning these deals for months, guys. For 6 months, guys. So, what are we doing here? Listen, I've got no doubt we will get one of these players. And again, some people will say you're coming across as a spoiled football fan. But by the time Arsenal get one of these players holding up the shirt, I'm not even excited anymore. It's been played out. I already know. It's like watching a movie and then watching it again and again and again. The excitement's pretty much gone. I already know. So, listen, I hope we get the right player. I have to admit, I was kind of excited when I saw the Gyökeres link. I genuinely don't get why we're not looking at Osimhen. I don't know. I feel like Osimhen should be in the mix as well. But we're gonna talk about this a little bit further because it is the news. It is headline news, and there's a few angles as well. Caught Offside put out a story last night as well, saying they understand Arsenal aren't giving up on Victor Gyökeres despite their ongoing talks for Benjamin Sesko. In recent hours, there has been a renewed push with active contacts for the striker from Sporting Lisbon. Arsenal's technical director, Berta, is applying serious pressure to get ahead of other clubs, especially Manchester United, who are very much in the race. Yo, Berta, come on, bro. We need this. We need this. Come on. The interesting thing about Arsenal's team right now is, and I said this the other day, we don't need much in terms of starting 11. You get a top quality left winger and a top quality striker, and Zubimendi comes as well to the club, and maybe Partey stays. I think that's a potential title winning team. And I'm talking with genuine belief that we can win the title. You slap a top quality left winger in that team and get a real goal scorer, Zubimendi joins, I'd be saying, I believe we can win it next season. Not we're in the mix. Genuine belief. So this is the frustration for me. This is the frustration. But listen, we'll talk about it. Chris said, Curtis, how come when Liverpool spend 150 on a player, they say it's a good signing? When United or Arsenal spend, the media is critical. I've seen a few people saying that. I suppose Liverpool will be supported spending 100 million on a player because they're champions. They're champions. They're the best team in this country. So I think when you win the league and spend 100 million on a player, that's viewed as serious ambition, serious moves. I think when you spend 100 million when you haven't won a title for 2 decades, people will be more critical of that deal. So when we bought Declan Rice, people were saying that's too much for a defensive midfielder from West Ham. When Man United dropped, 90 million on Pogba, people saying, 90 million for a player that you let go for nothing or for cheap. Listen, Liverpool are... There's a lot of Liverpool pundits that work on TV, first of all. They have a lot of power in the media. But I just think if you win the league, you win the Champions League, you drop 100 million. Who can really tell you anything, really? Same with City. Was Jack Grealish worth 100 million? No chance. Never in a million years. But guess what? They won the treble with Jack Grealish. They'd won 4 Premier Leagues. So if Pep spends 100 million on a player, who can really tell him anything? Because people now say Grealish is a flop. But he'll turn around and say, well, he helped Man City win the treble, have the greatest season in their history. So I think it depends on what your team is doing at that current time. Gyökeres is mid, even Rio and Lescott said it. I mean, listen, for me, when pundits say things, I have to look at the angle. I'm one of these people, when pundits talk on TV, I don't necessarily look and think, because Rio played football at the highest level, everything he says is gospel. I've heard him get things horribly wrong. So, I think what it is, when it comes to Victor Gyökeres, right, it's almost like going into a shop, an expensive shop, and your favourite item in that shop is 70% off, and it's in your size. Sometimes it feels too good to be true. And I think with Gyökeres, his numbers are that high, people think there's something wrong. It feels like we're being ripped off. I think people look at Gyökeres and go, nah, you can't score 60 goals in all competitions. Something's not right. Something's not right. I've seen people online saying he's too stocky. You can't be that big in the Premier League. I've seen people saying it's a farmers league. Everything. We're all, not everyone, by the way. A lot of people just think, yo, he's a gunman goal scorer, bring him to Arsenal. But people have got this pessimism that, yo, he scored too many goals. There's something not right. But my question is this. If him scoring 60 goals is off-putting for you, right? If that puts you off because maybe you're thinking the league's too easy or why is he scoring that many goals? What on the flip side hypes people at a guy that scored 13 goals in the German league? That's my only question. Anybody has a right to feel pessimistic and go, yo, there's something wrong. How come this guy's scoring so many goals? How come Real Madrid, Barcelona, Bayern Munich, how come every top club isn't trying to sign Gyökeres with that goal record? But the flip side of that surely has to be, how can we then be saying, but a guy with 13 goals in the Bundesliga is the answer? So I think you've got to be very careful how you evaluate it. Even me, I want Gyökeres at Arsenal. I'm sitting there going, yo, 60 goals, something crazy here. But my thing is, and always has been, I think you need somebody to score 20 plus league goals. That has always been my thing. A top striker in the Premier League, 20 league goals. 20 league goals. So if he's getting 40, 50 league goals or 40 league goals, just come and get me 25, 23, 27. People go, yeah, but 19 penalties. I don't care. Come to Arsenal, score 12 penalties. Score 25 in all competition. I'll be delighted with that. No problem. So you just never know until a player signs, people. You never know until a player signs. 60 goals is 60 goals. Yeah, even if that turns into 25 goals, I'm more than happy with that, Salman. Vinod, big up to you, new member. Appreciate that. He also said, just joined as a member. Hope you're well, Curtis. I'm a Liverpool fan, but listen to you from early days. The only content creator that I listen to as a rival fan, as you keep it real. Big up to you, bro. Liverpool making big moves, man. Florian Wirtz, you know. Exciting times for Liverpool. Alexander said, just in, I'm currently monitoring Jennifer Lawrence. Dear, you're in talks with her, bro. You know, you've sent her a DM. She'll never read it, but you never know. The Chelsea said, I feel Arsenal are bluffing in the Gyökeres deal. That was my initial thought, and we'll expand on that shortly when we read a bit more of the Sesko deal as well. Alex said, I believe we are not signing any players till July, so it can go into next year's budget. It feels like that could be the case. And if you look at last season, we didn't really sign anybody until we got to July, because then it goes on next year's books. Easier to balance them books. So maybe it would be great if the club let us know that. But Thomas, big up to you, new member Thomas Gas. Big up yourself, Fabregas, Thomas Gas. Anyway, let's move on. Oh yeah, I got a third part actually from that situation. Big up Keros in the chat with Victor Gyokeres. This was the president of Sporting Lisbon who said this yesterday. Remember, there was a rumor that there was this 70 million euro clause that is around 60 million pounds. He said, Federico Varandas, who's the Sporting Lisbon president, said, I guarantee you that Victor Gyokeres won't leave for 60 million plus 10 million in add-ons, because I didn't promise him that. This game his agent is playing is only making the situation worse. So there you go, people. You know, maybe his agent, to drum up more interest in the player, is throwing it out to the media that, listen, you can get Gyökeres for just 60 million pounds, you know, to get people interested. But once they come to the table, they realise very quickly it's not 60 million pounds, 70 million euros. They want way more than that. So there's a lot of things going on in this situation. I think Sporting Lisbon would have expected a bidding war. I think they would have expected a bidding war, and it hasn't happened. So now they're trying to drum up interest. So that's the angle I think they're taking now. But it looks as if he's not going to be available at the price that people are saying, and this is where it's all getting techie now. You see, so we'll see. But the Gyökeres one, it's there, it's lurking. I said this yesterday, or the day before, sorry. Arsenal need to control this situation before the situation controls them. 100%. Arsenal need to control this striker situation before this striker situation controls them. And what I mean by that is there's three obvious strikers on the market, whatever order you rate them in. Osimhen, Gyökeres, Sesko. Now, let's say we're going, that's the one we want. What if one of them gets signed? Breaking news, bang, he's signed for somebody. Now you're down to two. Now that club go, well, you've just lost one of your main options on the market. So you know that 70 million, that's now 80 million. Because we know you're desperate. Everybody in the world knows Arsenal want a striker. So the less options that are available on the market, the easier it will be for the selling club to start bumping up the price. So rather than Arsenal allowing one or two of those options to go elsewhere, I would like to see Arsenal go, right, this is the one we want. It's 5 or 10 million more than we hoped, but we need to get the deal done so that we're not left. Imagine we get left out here in a crazy situation where somebody just goes, you know what, we're going to buy this one. And we wanted that player. We need to get a grip of the situation. That's what big clubs do. Big clubs don't sit around and wait and see what happens, and it might work, it might not. You go, we want him, get him done. Manchester City have signed 4 players in that opening 10 days of the window. Now, I'm not saying we have to do what they're doing because we're not them, but surely it helps the club if they get their business done early and people know what the situation is and we know who the striker is. And so we've got to see. Listen, I think the thing they're saying about Berta is that Berta doesn't necessarily go for one player. He will go for 2 strikers at the same time and then present them to the manager at the stage where the deals are actually done. So he's going to go to Arteta and say, right, we can get Gyökeres right now for 70 million. We can get Sesko for 70 million. This is how those deals look. This is the contract. Pick which one you want. So that seems to be what he does. It's like trying to buy 2 houses, agree the price, get the figures, then decide which one you want. So is that the right way of doing it? We'll see. Chris said, Curtis, I feel United are slowing the window too. We let players go cheap and overpay for players. If it's City, Liverpool, they get lots of players for their players and get great deals. Position of power, bro. Again, position of power. When clubs are struggling and they sell players, you'll get bumped. And when clubs are struggling, you want to buy players, you'll probably get bumped as well because they'll know desperation. When you're a good club, you can be a bit more stubborn, you know? So, yeah, I think Arteta has the overriding decision, you know? They're waiting on Arsenal, Curtis. We are in control for once. Maybe. I think at the moment, Sesko wants to come to Arsenal. Gyökeres wants to come to Arsenal. I think Gyökeres is very much willing to go to Manchester United, play for his old manager. United are still a massive club. They pay big wages. You know, he's played in England in the Championship, but I think Gyökeres very much wants to go to Arsenal. It's a case now of Arsenal getting a deal done. So I think this will drag on for longer. Apparently, Gabriel has done an interview. He was asked, do you know if Rodrigo will join Arsenal? He said, I don't know, but I'd obviously like it. He's a phenomenon. I've told people already he's a phenomenon. He said, if it was up to me, of course. Well, you got to get on the phone to him, but it sounds very much like Rodrigo might be staying at Real Madrid, but let's hope we get him. He would be incredible. I've said it many times, people. For me, Rodrigo, Rafa Leao, they're the 2 that I would love on the left. Lawrence said, funniest thing is Osimhen is the most obvious and only appropriate striker on the market for us. Do you know the thing, though, Lawrence? And listen, I agree with you to a point. Like, Osimhen is a player that I would definitely bring to Arsenal. There's 2 things I will say about Osimhen and about the appropriate sort of thing. Is people have this thing now that the player has to look like he fits in with the current style of how you play. So people look at his style and go, that's the kind of striker that will fit that style. And I always have this conversation. I've said it multiple times. I've used the Man City example, but I'm going to use an Arsenal example. We went from Olivier Giroud to Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. One's a target man. One's a pacey player that likes to get on the end of a through ball and more of a poacher. Arsenal got better with Aubameyang in the team. I'm not a believer that you've got to buy a striker that fits the way your team plays. I think good players, good teams can adapt when you're bringing someone in that can push you to a higher level. You know, is Gabriel Jesus like Kai Havertz? They're nowhere near like each other, really. 2 totally different players. So I don't look at Arsenal and think, right, because we get the ball out wide and put a lot of crosses in, we need a giant that's unbelievable in the air. I think you can play different ways. Now, with Osimhen, I like Osimhen. I don't think his link-up play is brilliant. That's one thing that I think will put Arteta off. I think the problem with Osimhen is, even though he's turned down Saudi, which shows that he's not all about money, I think he's using those offers from Saudi to try and get massive wages in Europe, which is another reason why I think nobody's moved for him yet. Because, I mean, Man United are being linked with him today. I would take Osimhen. If we signed Osimhen, I would be happy. And yeah, Man City adapted to Haaland after having Aguero and good teams can adapt, man. You know, success, different strikers, good players. When Haaland signed for City, they were going, yeah, but they don't put crosses in and stuff. Next minute, they're whipping in crosses. You can adapt. How much do you reckon Arsenal will spend this summer? I reckon we will do over 200 million. I reckon it will be close. I reckon it'll be close to 250. Because Zubimendi, they're saying might be 60 million now. They reckon we'll pay just over. So that's 60 million done already. Let's say we get Kepa as the backup keeper. That's 65. I think any striker's going to cost at least 60, 70 million. So you're already at like 130. I think the left winger will cost about 60 as well. You're pretty much at 200. I think they'll get a defender as well. So maybe like 220, 230, I reckon we'll spend. I think we'll break 200 million though, definitely. Dave said, for me, Curtis left wing is just as important as the striker position. We need a winger that has pace and can finish. Martinelli is only a backup at best. I agree. The left winger is massive. Andrew said, damn, I don't even see 150, even considering selling. I think we'll break 200. Zubi will be 60 million already. Striker's going to be at least 60. You're already at 120. We need a left winger. And I think they'll go for a defender because they wanted Howson for 50 million. So, yeah, 220. We did 200 million 2 seasons ago with Declan Rice and Timber and Havertz and Rail. We did 200 mil. So I don't see any reason we can't do 200 mil. If it's less than 200 mil, I'll be panicking. And we need to sell players as well to balance the book. So Nelson, Zinchenko, there's one of the left wingers probably got to go. So the club need to be making 100 million in player sales. Why was me said, I think you're doing too much with Gyökeres, Big C. Gyökeres PR is crazy. Nunes did the same. Sesko is not great as well. Osimhen is the guy. Listen, I've said multiple times, I have no problem with Osimhen being the striker. I'm not on here saying, yo, just take Gyökeres. No. I actually would love to see Victor Osimhen because he has done it in Italy, which is a better league. He's done it in the Champions League. What I will say with Gyökeres, I don't buy into the Darwin Núñez-Gyökeres comparison. They're both strikers. They both played in Portugal. But Gyökeres had 2 monster seasons, and he's done it in the Champions League. Nunes was doing it in Europe, but he'd basically had 1 big season and got the big move, you know? And his finishing wasn't as clinical, in my opinion. But we'll see. I think all-round game is not unbelievable. It's just a great finisher, and that's probably all we need. Somebody just said there we should have gone for Ivan Toney. I made it abundantly clear on this channel last summer. I didn't understand why we didn't sign Ivan Toney at 40 million. Proven goal scorer in the Premier League. But we'll see. I mean, they said his attitude, which I didn't believe. NC USA, gonna big up, bro. I'm gonna let the club cook and then judge the meal. Last year was a 4 out of 10 window, but can't judge this window until it's done. You're right, bro. I'm not even sure if last summer was 4 out of 10, I'll be honest. Apart from Marino up front for 15 games and probably a couple good games of Calafiori, what did we get out of that window? It was atrocious. I'd probably give it a 3 based on the fact that we sold Eddie and Nketiah for 30 million and we sold a few players that needed to go. So, yeah, man, it was a disgraceful window. Right, let's move on. What else we got to talk about? We're still on the striker subject, actually. But before we do get to it, one player that we definitely will not be signing. Some of you may be very happy with this. Some of you maybe not. I don't know. Leroy Sané, people. Leroy Sané has joined Galatasaray. It seemed to happen very quick. We know that there was rumours that Arsenal had offered him a contract, but it was the lowest offer of the 4 clubs that were in for him. That was obviously Arsenal, Galatasaray, Fenerbahce, and Bayern Munich offered him a renewal. 300,000 a week. I think it's euros, but 300,000 euros a week for Leroy Sané. No wonder he went to Turkey for that deal. All I was hearing is, yeah, his girlfriend lives in London. He's desperate to come back to London. 300,000 a week. Yeah, I'm going to Turkey. Brother said, yo, I don't care about London. 300 racks a week, 29 years of age. Listen, you know one thing about me, I never blame players for going to get the bag. I'll never blame a football player for going for the bag. Because football is a short-lived career, people. Very short-lived career. 10 years if you're lucky. 15 if you're absolutely super lucky. They got to make money. He's 29. He's been at Bayern Munich. Been at Man City. Multiple trophies. 300 racks. Look after yourself. Yeah, I need to live in London and be close to my family. 300 grand a week. Yeah, get me to Turkey. You know what I'm saying? Game change. You're right, Ashman. Dirty cash, I want you. Dirty cash, I need you more. Brother said, yo, London, the family, I'm good. We link up in the summer. It's wild. What I'm wondering now, by the way, what does this mean for Victor Osimhen to Galatasaray? Because if Sané's getting 300 a week, then surely, do they get Osimhen as well? I would expect Osimhen to be getting more than that. So, does this mean that Osimhen has told Galatasaray, listen, I'm not going to be there. I'm going to go somewhere else. Well, there's some breaking news. Again, it's not coming from a good source, so I don't want to get people too hyped. I don't know whether you view this as a positive or not. Yeah, Andre just put it there in the chat. It's coming from the Record in Portugal. They're saying Arsenal have submitted their first official bid for Victor Gyökeres, 55 million euros plus 10 million euros in add-ons. The offer was made during a meeting yesterday. Sporting are expected to reject it. I mean, I've seen people saying this morning that these are not a trustworthy source of information. How crazy would that be, right? The Sporting president says publicly yesterday that 60 million euros plus 10 will not be accepted, and then you're telling me Arsenal go in with 55 plus 10. The guy's told you publicly he won't take 70 million euros altogether, and you're telling me we offered 65 million euros. Listen, who knows? Maybe we did. Maybe we did, but what do you guys make of it? I don't think so, to be honest. I want to see it from better, more respected articles and journalists before I start saying, okay, there's some truth in it. Let's see if the majors pick up on this over the next couple of hours. At that price, even I'll take him. You see how Lawrence changed? Man said, no, Gyökeres overhyped. 55 plus 10. Yeah, take him. Take him. You know what I mean? It's crazy. People, you know what I always tell you out here? Look at who we've got in the current situation. So when certain people say to me, yo, man, I can't believe you want Leao, man. He's not even that good. I say, brother, we got Martinelli and Trossard on the left, man. What are we doing it? Man telling me, yo, I don't know if I want Gyökeres. Yo, we got Kai Havertz, bro. And Mikel Merino. If you've only got £5 and someone gives you £10, you know what I'm saying? You've doubled your money. Don't worry if you wanted £20. Take what you can get. It's crazy out here. Listen, it'll be interesting. Let's see if this gets picked up for the rest of the afternoon by the majors. Because if Arsenal made a bid and it's expected to be rejected, surely the big outlets would pick up on this. So let's see if we get anything while we're live. I mean, I'm looking now. Can't see anybody else talking about it. There's another source called Ebola, who is now set. I mean, they're saying something totally different now. Talking Sporting. It's crazy. Well, the Portuguese outlets are running with it. So if there is some truth in it, let me show you this one as well. This has only come out a few moments ago as well. Let's have a look. Bang. So what is it? Ebola PT. Talking Sporting. They're saying This bid has since been rejected, however, can be raised. The figures presented by the Londoners were below 60 million plus 10. The Lions received this offer this morning and rejected Arsenal's first offer, which could be raised in the coming days. And this was also reporting the first one, look, saying the Gunners and the Lions met in Menorca and put 55 million on the table plus 10 for objectives. I don't know what you guys make of that. Is there some truth in this? There could be. There could be. Maybe there was an offer. Maybe they just discussed it. I don't know. I don't know. It's interesting. This is broke in the last 10 minutes. So it would be so Arsenal to offer 55 plus 10 when the guy just said he won't even take 60 plus 10. You go into a shop. How much for the Snickers, boss man? 75p. All right, there's 40 pence. No, bro, I said 75. No, I'll pay in installments. Once a week, I'll drop you 10 pence. That feels like how Arsenal do business. It's interesting. It is interesting. Sometimes I feel that, and it's been known, clubs just make offers sometimes just to. Again, are they doing it to just put pressure on Leipzig with Sesko? I think they're trying to panic. Chris said Ebola is the number, I'm assuming he was going to say number one publication in Portugal. 40 plus 1 vibes. Curtis, would you prefer Gyökeres or Osimhen for me? Isak was the dream. He was the number one. But after that, it would have been Osimhen, Gyökeres, and then maybe Sesko after that. One of Portugal's top 3 sports newspapers, along with Ebola and O Jogo. Well, there you go. Arsenal going to get Rashford or Garnacho? Nah, keep them away. Keep them away. Well, let's see. Bikash said, imagine spending 250 million and not winning anything. Well, we'd be at $1 billion then. So, Nico said, big X Arsenal side. How you think? I'm assuming you was meant to say big C, and X is next to the C on the laptop. How you think Kevin De Bruyne will do playing for Napoli? I think that's a brave move. I think that's a brave move from Kevin De Bruyne. I'll be honest. When I heard De Bruyne was leaving City, I thought, yeah, he's going Saudi or something. He's going to get the bag. I'm surprised that he's gone to Napoli, but I respect it. I respect it. Napoli are a big club, fanatical fan base, just won the league. It clearly shows that De Bruyne feels like he should still be playing at the top level. It was interesting in his interview that he was sort of saying City pushed him out. It's not that he rejected the offer. Pep sort of said no more contract. So, listen, Napoli probably win the league. I think De Bruyne will do bits over there. It's a slower league than the Prem. He's a fantastic player still got the ability. McTominay and De Bruyne in midfield, man, you know what I mean? And that's without Kvaratskhelia and Osimhen. Imagine Osimhen went back there. And then you've got Lukaku bullying the league up front as well. Yeah, sky blue. You don't even have to change the colour of the kit. So, Lukaku, De Bruyne, Belgium link up. They'll probably win the league. It's an unbelievable signing, to be honest. KDB to Lukaku, man. Them two have got good link up with the national team. NC USA Gunner said, we're all panicking. Race car wreck. Massive pile up or drive through the smoke and win. Seatbelt settings. I think you're right. The key thing is patience. Be patient. If you're not patient this summer, particularly as an Arsenal fan, you're just going to be annoyed, frustrated, maybe even angry at times, as in, what are Arsenal doing? We've got to let it play out. I always say with the transfer window, it's about getting the right player, not getting a player quickest. Don't get me wrong. It's great when your team does business early and it's somebody you really want. I want to remind you that a couple of summers ago, Havertz was one of our first signings that summer. It wasn't like I was excited because we got him early. It's about getting the right player, So We've just got to be patient. I always tell people, man, enjoy your summer. Enjoy your summer. Because if you get too caught up in this, it's stressful enough watching the games. Never mind dealing with the transfers. But I'm just very intrigued to see how true this Gyökeres failed bid is. And if any of the major outlets talk about it. Because if major outlets in Portugal are reporting it, then surely that news will spill to the likes of Fabrizio and Ornstein in the next couple of hours, and then they'll confirm it. I mean, I'm reading the full article here. Yeah, it says 55 million euros plus 10 in add-ons. Sporting have rejected the offer. Even 60 million plus 10 would be rejected, but it would enable the club to open talks. Talks are ongoing. Arsenal are set to raise their bid. Sesko remains an alternative. So you've got to wonder now if Arsenal feel like Leipzig have done them dirty. And now they've turned their back on that deal. Again, I don't know. It's a lot of ifs, buts, and maybes at the moment. Let's move on from Gyökeres. If something happens, we'll go back. Any breaking news, throw it in the comments. I'll keep looking. Let's see, as I said, if the major outlets pick up on this. Let's talk Benjamin Sesko. I think a week ago, we thought this was done. Yeah, I will do a video live when the fixtures get released next week. Graham Bailey reporting Benjamin Sesko is growing concerned about RB Leipzig's demands. TBR Football understands that Sesko is aware that Arsenal are still in talks with Viktor Gyökeres and could turn their attention back to the Swede if talks don't progress. And once again, it seems to be that Leipzig had some sort of gentleman's agreement, and they basically said you can go for about £60 million in the summer. It sounds like now they're asking for around 80 million with some add-ons. In terms of euros, this would be. So Arsenal surely must be looking at it now and going, at that price, he's not established enough. You can't... If they want Sesko, right? I'm not particularly a fan of the Sesko signing. I think you guys know that. I said if we sign him, I'll hope for the best. But they're probably looking at it now and going, you know what? This is too expensive. You can't pay that much money. Remember, you're right. Klopp is head of the sporting project over there at Red Bull. Whether he's the one who deals with transfers or not, I don't know. So this could actually be really clever from Berta. This could be Berta playing both clubs off each other. Leipzig are trying to hustle, get the price higher. Sporting Lisbon are trying to hustle, get the price higher. So maybe Berta's going, right, what we'll do, we'll play these two off each other in the media and make them panic. Leipzig don't have European football. Can they afford to let Arsenal walk away from this deal? Can they afford it? You heard the Leipzig fan who came on the show the other day, Justin. He said they want to sell Sesko and Xavi Simons. They need the money. They haven't made any European competition. Can they afford to let us walk away from the table? So maybe Berta says, right, I tell you what, Leipzig are messing about with Sesko. Let's go and put an opening offer in for Gyökeres. Get it out there in the public so everybody knows we're serious. Then it's, what do you want to do now, Leipzig? Because if you don't fix up, we're going to go and get this Gyökeres deal done because he wants to play for us. So I think what you're watching at the moment, I called it Tom and Jerry at the start of the show. I think you're watching chess. People are playing chess right now. Now, what you've got to understand is these clubs are going to try and play Arsenal. They know we want a striker. They know we've made the Champions League semi-final, made over 100 million from being in the Champions League. They're not going to say, here's our best player, take him for 50 million on the cheap. They're going to go, we want 80. Okay, now we'll take 75. I think it's probably just regular negotiation. So hopefully we see a masterstroke from Berta. Bertanomics, I like that one. Bertanomics is what we're waiting for. Laka had similar numbers to Gyökeres. Laka had big numbers in the French league, I can't lie. Do you know Lacazette was one of those players, right? that I wanted at Arsenal for a number of years. And when he came, it just wasn't what we expected. He wasn't bad. He wasn't bad, but he wasn't. He never got past 15 league goals at Arsenal, which, when you look at what he was doing in the French league, was crazy. 14 league goals was his highest. I mean, similar, but Gyökeres is still higher. 27, 21, 28, 27. Great numbers, by the way. If you look at his Champions League, 2 goals and then 1 goal the following season. Gyökeres got 7 goals, sorry, in the Champions League this year. So he's scored more than treble him in 1 season. And he got 39 league goals. Laka never touched 30. I know French league, Portuguese league. I don't want to sound like I'm glazing him, but his numbers were higher. Lacazette, for me, was a fantastic football player. He wasn't a fantastic goal scorer in the Premier League in terms of consistency. I actually think Lacazette is a really, really good footballer. Great touch, good hold-up play, got a lovely shooting style. He's a quality player. Just his numbers weren't high enough, and he started dropping back too much and all that. What's the website for the cheer of yours? Geez, I should know it considering they sponsored me. I always actually forget the name of them. Let me get it. I've got the link for it here. It is. How am I forgetting that? I actually can't even remember it. I had the email here. Let me look. You guys probably know before me. I can't even see the email. What was the name of it, people? Jeez, good job the community are here when I need them. Flexi Spot. I hope they're not looking at this video. It's not a sponsored video anyway, so it is what it is. Yeah, Flexi Spot. People, honestly, this isn't a sponsored video, right? And my sponsorship with them has finished. So I don't need to come on here and start capping, right, for the company. I promise you now, you guys know I had a leather chair on here, right? You've seen it many times when I've been going mad at the leather chair. I had a leather chair that was quite expensive, and it was starting to give me pain in my lower back. I got this Flexi Spot chair, and it's all gone. It's a game changer. Don't get me wrong, they are expensive. For a regular chair, you know, £200-300. But I promise you, anybody that works from home, that sits down all day in the chair working at a computer, I promise you now, this chair is a game changer. Ask Turkish, she got the same chair as well. Absolute game changer. Flexi Spot. I'll get you the link. I'll get you the link, people. Man United Bomber, what are they saying? What are they saying? Let's get that ready. That leather chair used to hold a beat down, bro. That leather chair, man, it went through some times. It really did. I will get the link for you. I'll put it in the chat. The Man United Bomber is Pletty goal. Man United have officially entered the race to sign Hugo Ekitike from Eintracht Frankfurt. Contact has been made in the last 48 hours and the interest is concrete. See, I'm thinking now, and I don't want to get excited, by the way, but you've got to wonder now, don't you? A week ago, Man United were favourites to get Gyökeres. Now they're trying to get Ekitike. You just wonder, don't you, if they've been told that Gyökeres is going to go to Arsenal. I don't know. Am I reading too much into it? I don't know. There's a lot going off here. I think United are probably doing it at the same time because they're thinking, oh, we're getting played off a little bit here by Gyökeres and Sporting. So they're doing their due diligence as well and saying, listen, you can't rely on going for one player, because what if you don't get that one player? Ekitike is an exciting player, not a prolific goal scorer, but a very good footballer. Arsenal fans seem to love him after he did that Thierry Henry celebration after scoring against Tottenham, but he's been linked with Chelsea, he's been linked now with Manchester United, so I think every club's in the same sort of category at the moment. You know, everyone's looking for a player, and everybody wants somebody that can improve their front line. The striker market is so weak at the moment. It's unbelievable. All right, I think I found the link. I'm looking for the link for the community. I got to give the community this link, man, because I swear I think there's a big sale on there at the moment as well. Let me try and find this link. I'm sure I had a discount code on there as well. I'm going to try and find that. Anyway, United fans, what do you make of it? Ekitike, I like him, but they're talking about £75 million. I just don't know if he's worth that. This is the problem now. You see, you're paying big money for players that are not even proven at the moment. He's had one good season, really. Where is that link for the chair? Right, I'll try and do it as we go on. I definitely got in the email somewhere. But yeah, Katika, 100 million euros. This Pletty goal, right? I'm not sure about him as a credible source. I know some people say that he's good. I think he gets a lot wrong. He says a lot. He's tweeting daily like big headline news, and half of it never happens. I don't know. I don't know if he's a very trustworthy source of information, man. Every minute he's saying big news, this, that, the other, this player, this, and nothing happens half of the time. So I don't know whether I believe that, to be honest. Yeah, of course he's getting paid. He's getting paid to say it. Would you take Sancho for 25 million? No. No. Nope. Don't want Sancho, people. Sancho just needs to go to Dortmund and chill. I don't know why Sancho tries to avoid Dortmund so much. It's the obvious place that guy needs to go and play and just enjoy his career. But I wouldn't take him. I don't think Arsenal is going to sign a big name forward like Gyökeres. They told us last season Kai is the main man. They're going to buy a backup. If they do that, the fans will go mad. Nobody wants to see Havertz as the main striker. Stephen Island's grandmother, this sounds like Love Island. They're talking to one girl trying to make the other one jealous. I mean, I don't watch Love Island, but I've seen clips of it before. So, yeah, for real. Ricky said, can someone tell me why Arsenal have stories like player concern, secret meetings, agent spotted, Liverpool and City just signed the player? It's the Arsenal way, man. I don't understand it. MJ said, trash, bring me Osimhen or at least Gyokeres. He's not happy with Ekitike. And he said, how much you, man, paying Pep for Grealish? Do you know what? Somebody actually put that in the chat the other day. Would you take Grealish left wing? I'm like, what? Are you mad? Grealish. I would have took Villa Grealish. Aston Villa Grealish, I would have taken him. He was balling out them times. He's on about 250 grand a week. He's nearly 30. His confidence is shot to pieces. There's no reason to sign Jack Grealish whatsoever. You stay far away from Grealish. Right, I found a link. I found a link for the chair, I think. I'll put that in anyway shortly. Let me just make sure. I'm trying to see if I've got a discount code in the emails, but I'm not sure I still have. Anyway, let's talk about a player potentially on his way out of Arsenal. This would be an interesting one, and that is Alexander Zinchenko. Zinchenko, oh, always believe in your soul. You got the power to go. Yeah, he's not indestructible. He's getting sold by the look of it. With the possibility of Theo Hernandez leaving AC Milan, the Rossoneri are evaluating a move for Alexander Zinchenko. Information coming from Di Marzio. I mean, I've got to be careful what I say here because I want this deal to happen. It was like when Palace were linked with Eddie Nketiah. I was like, you know what? Let me not say too much until that deal is set and done and dusted. But at the same time, going from Theo Hernandez to Alexander Zinchenko is a bit wild. I can't even lie. But however, yeah, sign him. Quality player. Always rated him. I think he'll do great in Milan. I mean, if he gets that move, what a great move, by the way. First of all, why are clubs not desperate to sign Theo Hernandez? Ain't he a really, really good left back? And he's available for like 30 million. You look how many clubs are looking at left backs. I'm shocked that teams aren't trying to get Theo Hernandez. However, it looks as if this deal may not definitely happen. He's on big wages. This guy's on racks, 150 grand a week in Italy. Is big, big money. Are they going to pay that kind of money on a left back? So it's saying that AC Milan are interested. He's on the list of potential replacements, but they don't want to pay him 150 grand a week. And this is a problem with Arsenal. I've said this for a long time. The one big mistake that Arsenal have made over the past few years is signing players through money. Now, I understand when you're struggling and you're fifth and you're eighth and things like that. Yeah, you're going to use money as a way to entice players to join the football club. I've got no problem with that, and I do understand that. However, the guy was on like 20, 30 grand a week. He was on 20 or 30 grand a week at Man City. He'd signed one contract at Manchester City since coming from the Ukraine. And you gave him £150,000 a week. Surely you don't have to go from 20 grand to 150 grand. That kind of pay rise doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. 20 grand, you give him 80 grand. 4 times your wages. 100 grand at the absolute. But you offer him 150. How are you going to sell these players? How are you going to sell him on 150 grand a week? The only way you're going to get him out of the club is if you pay off part of his contract. So maybe AC Milan go, look, we can give him 80, 90 grand a week. He's going to go, okay, where's my other 50, 60 grand coming from? Arsenal go, there you go, there's £3-4 million payoff to cover the rest of your wages to get you out of the club. This is the problem. These contracts, when you're signing a player, I always say you have to have an escape plan lined up. If this doesn't work out, how do we get him out of this club? What is the angle? What sort of club buy him? Who can afford those wages? Which is why I've said many times on this channel that the Kai Havertz deal will be almost impossible to get him out of the club unless the Saudis come for him, because no one's going to pay Havertz 275. So giving Zinchenko 150 grand a week was absolutely criminal. And I know people will say, yeah, he came in and did well that first season, but whoever signed that contract off is insane, honestly. Absolutely insane. From a business point of view, how do you give him that much of a pay rise? It's a disgraceful contract. Who gave Gabriel Jesus over £200,000 a week? Who signed that deal off? I don't understand it. And this is where I question the owners. Everything for me goes back to the owners. We can blame the sporting director. Who hired him? We can blame the manager. Who hired him? And in fact, these deals would still have to be signed off by the owners. And it shows the lack of sporting knowledge from the ownership at this club, because any one of you guys in the chat, you all watch your football, you all know your football. Imagine being the owner of Arsenal and Zinchenko's on 20 grand a week and Arteta says, I want to sign him. And you go, okay, no problem. How much wages do you want to give him? 150 grand a week, boss. Hang on a minute. He's on 20 grand a week. Why are we paying him £150,000 a week? I know he's at City and we've got to entice him to come here, but offer him 80 grand a week. Offer him 100 maximum. He's not an elite left back. Do you know what I mean? Like, it is what it is. They've got to get him off the books. They've got to find a way. You know, we can't be letting these guys run down their contract. So it might be a case of you've got to pay off part of that deal. A couple of £1 million to cover the wages that he loses, because these deals need to stop. Arsenal are now second in the league. So we shouldn't have to entice players to come to this football club with massive wages. We should be saying, listen, we're one of the biggest clubs in this country, right? You're going to be paid well, and we're challenging for trophies. Whether we're winning them or not is a different question, but the hope, the expectation is we're going to be successful. We've got to stop giving people ridiculous contracts that we can't get out of. Because I want to remind people, Kieran Tierney's just walked out of the door. Kieran Tierney's just walked out of the door. £25 million signing. 100 grand a week wages. Gone. Walked out. Jorginho's walked out. Partey could walk out if we don't agree this contract. Walked out the door. Nothing. No money. Nothing. 3 million for Pepe after spending 72 million. Aubameyang for nothing. So the club is improving in a number of areas. However, selling players is still not good enough. What Arsenal should have probably done is extended Kieran Tierney's contract with that option and sold him. Sounds harsh, it's ruthless business. Kieran, I know you want to go back to Celtic on a free. However, we paid 25 million for you. We still think you're a very, very good left back. We're going to extend your contract. We'll sell you for a reduced price. We've got to at least pick up 10 million for you. Minimum. We can't be letting you walk out the door for nothing. You're a quality left back. So this is the problem. When you give players wages that are more than they should be on. Calafiori's on 12k at Bologna. Wow. Wow. Incredible. You can't maintain wage bills like this. I mean, let's have a look. Let's have a little look. I know I'm waffling. 3.1k in the chat. And I know people say, oh, you're doing up accountant and blah, blah, blah. But I think it's important to understand these things as a fan because it affects transfers. And you like to have that overall look of like, why can't we buy this player and what's going on here and stuff like that? Why are Arsenal not selling players for more money? I mean, when you look at Arsenal's wage bill, Tierney's still on this list. Obviously, he's officially gone. They haven't updated it. But even Reece Nelson and Gabriel's just signed for 180 apparently. So they haven't updated this yet. But if you look at this, you've got Havertz on 280 grand a week, which, listen, I don't want to talk about that for too long because to this day, I don't know who signed that paperwork. But boy, 280 racks a week for Kai Havertz, you know. Oh my day. You know when you really break down the signing? We sold Xhaka for 21 million, bought Havertz for 65 million, and he is worse than Granit Xhaka in midfield. So we paid triple for a player that is worse. We then put him up front because we ain't got no strikers. He has a little purple patch. And now we're going, please just sign a striker. Anybody. Put us out of our misery. So what do we do with Havertz next season? He's 25. He signed a 5-year deal. He's still got 3 years left. What do we do? Squad player on 280 at Arsenal on the bench. It's a madness. Gabriel Jesus, 265. Way too much money for a guy that isn't prolific. Again, I know we were taking him out of City, but that's crazy. I would even go as far as to say, I don't think Martin Odegaard should be on 240 grand a week. I think the problem is people are on money that they haven't justified earning. It's not like Odegaard had 3 seasons in the Real Madrid team and we took him directly out of Real Madrid's team. Then I would understand 240. He was a guy that he was struggling to get on Real Madrid's bench. Declan Rice, I mean, it's because the transfer fee is so high. And let's be real, to be fair, Declan Rice is a player that I look at now and I don't care about the transfer fee. I love Declan Rice at Arsenal. I think he's brilliant. I think Declan Rice could end up being a legend at Arsenal. If we can win the trophies to match his ability. He's getting better every season. He's scoring goals. Defensively, he was brilliant. I love Declan Rice. I actually don't care how much we paid for him. I love that deal. I think he can become an absolute world beater at Arsenal. Saka, listen, bro, you carried the team on your shoulders for years after Robbo left. Starts right wing for England. I don't have no problem with that. Saliba, world-class centre-back. No problem. You justify all that money. Martinelli shouldn't be on that much money, in my opinion. Nowhere near. Luis Diaz on 55 grand a week. Did you see his goal the other night against Argentina? I mean, Martinelli actually played all right for Brazil the other night, but Martinelli on 180? Nah, too much. Shouldn't be on it. Zinchenko, 150, crazy. Ben White, 150. I think that's too much. But it's probably because we paid 50 million for him. With a big transfer fee, naturally, you're going to get a big wage. Marino, 130. 130 for Marino, you know. That's a lot of money, man. He's coming from Sociedad. He's 28. I'm sure he was on 50 grand a week. So we've given him more than double his wage to come to Arsenal. I think that's too much as well. I think that's crazy. He was on 50 grand a week at Sociedad. We've given more than double his wages to come to Arsenal. It's like Calafiori. Now, somebody told me Calafiori was on 20 grand a week. In fact, they said 12 grand a week. Yeah, that is absolutely crazy if that's true. But the only problem we got with Calafiori, where I'll make a bit of an excuse, a lot of clubs were trying to buy him. So if clubs are offering him big money, let's have a look. What was he getting? Oh my days! You're right, people. He was on £12,000 a week. Oh my days! 12 grand to 120 grand. Wow! 12 bags a week. You gave him 120. Was that a spell check? Did they type an extra naught by accident? The man's on 12 grand a week. Give him 60 grand and keep it moving. 120. He spent more time modelling new training kit than playing for the first team. Lord of mercy, people. Who's negotiating these contracts? 10x, you know. They 10x'd his wage. Mad. You're giving Calafiori more than Tierney. Tierney, okay, sad injuries, but I didn't have a problem with his wage. Tomiyasu, 100 grand a week. 100 grand a week to basically play hide and seek. No one can find him. No one can find him. 100 racks a week. Reece, you know. Big up Reece. What a goal against Bournemouth. Reece picking up 100 racks a week for what exactly? What is Reece picking up 100 bags for? Now, let me tell you, brother. Go get your bag. I'm happy that you're getting paid well, but what is Reece getting 100 bags for? I don't get it. I swear down, the accountant must have got that Calafiori deal wrong. Right, we're going to give him 12 grand. Oh, Mikel, you're right. Yeah, it's Susan, the accountant. I meant to give Calafiori 12 grand, but I've given him 120 grand. I can't reverse it. Okay, I'll tell you what we'll do. He'll bring out the new training kit every month. Yeah, the Arsenal fans will love him. The long hair, the headband, they'll buy all of it. Yeah, that's what I reckon they've done. They've got it wrong. And yeah, Reece on 100 racks a week. Arsenal make 100 grand a week look like 30 grand a week. Timber's on 90 grand a week. If I was his agent, I'd be making phone calls quick. Sambi on 50, Fabio Vieira 45. Yeah, that's what some of these men should be getting, 45 grand. We paid 30 million for Fabio Vieira, 45 grand a week. Yeah, I don't mind that. That's what some of these guys should be on as well. Them wages are crazy. If you tried to sell Havertz now, you would struggle to sell him. Jesus, with the injury and the wages, I think you know that contract's going to expire. Odegaard, I mean, with the way he played last year, clubs would want Rice. Obviously, we wouldn't. Rice, Saka, Saliba, yeah, you free, your money's justified. Martinelli, maybe someone would take him because he's Brazilian and quick and young. Zinchenko, you're going to struggle. Ben White, 150. Maybe English tax nicks him a move. Marino, no, not when he's nearly 29. Them deals are crazy. Berta's got to fix that. I'll be honest. Berta's going to have to fix a lot of issues there with contracts. Arsenal need a bit of a mini clear out, man. Some of these Jesus, Havertz, Zinchenko, all them players need to go now for me. I think those guys can be moved on. Bayern want Declan. They got no chance. No chance, bro. They tried to get him last time. So they ain't getting him this time. They got no chance. Rice will be at Arsenal for years. If we don't win trophies, clubs will come for him, Man City and that, when Rodri maybe leaves in a few years. But I think we're good with... I said Gunnosaurus on 150k a week. Ah, dear. Jay Chuck says, check Arsenal's transfers for the last 5 years. Bro, I actually did that in a show once where we went through the 31 deals and there wasn't many good ones, I can't lie. I think we said there was about 9 really successful signings out of them 30. So, Arsenal news equals clicks. Yeah, they know that. I'm just sorry. I'm looking online now just to see if any of the big outlets are picking up on this Portuguese report of Arsenal. Big up everyone locked in, 3,200. The news is basically saying that Arsenal have had a 65 million euros offer rejected for Gyökeres. It's only coming out of Portugal, but no other major news article is picking up on it, which surely, if it was public information, it would have been. Adash said the manager causes the high wages by being stubborn for the exact players he wants. Then he falls out with them, and I ain't signing a contract if I fell out at the club. I think what Arteta's got to do now, and the club have got to do, it's like they're signing players for the short term. They're going, look, guys, we're struggling at the moment. We're fifth. We can't get in the Champions League. Yeah, I reckon Jesus and Zinchenko and Havertz will get Champions League football. And then you get in the Champions League and you go, what we're going to do now? Because these guys aren't good enough to start every week for Arsenal. So now they're squad players. So can you carry high-wage players on the bench in the squad, or do you need to sell them? Arsenal keep them around so long that any value of them fizzles out. You look at Liverpool, they signed Darwin Núñez, big money, big hype, doesn't work, couple years, they're going to get rid of him this summer. I bet money on it Darwin Núñez gets sold this summer. To me, Darwin Núñez and Havertz, similar situation. You bought them, couple years, hasn't worked, bin them, get rid of them. But they won't be able to. They won't be able to. And a lot of it is down to the wages, because if I look at Darwin Núñez, who I think costs more than Kai Havertz, Darwin Núñez on 140 grand a week. So Darwin Núñez is getting half the wage that Kai Havertz is getting. Now, I don't rate any of them. I don't rate none of them. But for 140 grand, somebody might take a chance on Darwin. But for 280 grand, you're not taking a chance on Kai Havertz. So that's where we put ourselves in a situation where it's so difficult to offload players. Bro, I'm waiting for the Saudis. When are the Saudis going to come and buy our squad players? I see all these players. They wanted Casemiro. They want Darwin Núñez. They offered big money for Matoma. When are they going to come to Arsenal and just go, yeah, we'll give you 80 million for Havertz? Oh, yeah, we'll take that. Do you know what I mean? Like, come and buy our players, man. Especially the players that we're not desperate to keep. I want to see the Saudis come and spend some big money, man, on our squad players, but ain't happening at the moment, unfortunately. A couple more stories, then we'll round up, people. As I said, that Gyökeres news is not being reported by any of the major outlets just as yet. Be very interesting to see for the rest of the evening if anybody talks about that. Jarrell Hato? Let me know. How do you pronounce it? Hato, I thought it was. Hato, maybe. Arsenal are back in talks, apparently. In talks. Chelsea and Arsenal have both started making calls to be informed on Jarrell Hato. Hato? I think it's Hato. Yeah, they're making calls, people. Maybe they're in a WhatsApp group. You know? You never know. Interested in, monitoring. Good player, 31 games this year, 19 years of age. 29 of those games were at left back. 2 of them were at centre back. Bro, I expect Arsenal to sign another defender, you know? Hanzo, I think we'll buy another defender. Let's put it this way. I think we'd have bought that Howson from Bournemouth if we could have agreed the deal with him. We were in for him. Ornstein, all of them said we were in for him. He cost 50 million. So realistically, we would have probably spent 50 million pounds on a centre back. So whatever, I think they're probably looking at it and going, 2 left back options, Lewis Skelly and Calafiori. That's what I think. 2 left centre back options will be Gabriel Kivior. Right centre-back Saliba, you could play Ben White there or Timber. I think because Zinchenko probably be sold and because Tierney's left, I think they will look for a defender that can maybe play centre-back and full-back as well, just to give us that more versatility. And Apparently, they want 40 million euros for him. He's good friends with Timber. We've obviously got a relationship with Ajax. We signed Timber from them. Very good, highly rated. He was being linked with Liverpool, but Liverpool look like they're going to get Gyökeres from Bournemouth. 19 years of age. As I said, he can play centre-back or left-back. 31 games this year. 29 of them were at left-back. It's just to spend 40 million. Is he going to play? Maybe they're looking at Lewis Skelly as he can play in midfield. I don't know. Be interesting. Get Jarrell Hato. I'm happy with that. Get rid of Zinny. Yeah, listen, Zinny, I don't mind him being sold. I would take this. I would take this. A young player, versatile. When I've seen him a few times, he does look good. He looks good. Looks like an exciting player. You know, clubs are being linked with him. It's a lot of money for a guy that's not going to probably get in the team, but they want to have squad depth in defence. I get it. We don't want to be in a situation. We want to be able to rotate properly all over the pitch. Fortnite King said, how the hell is Reece Nelson on 100k? Man has been at Arsenal forever, stealing a living. This club is a total joke. How are we ever going to shift him? He was actually being linked with Fulham the other day. Hopefully something materialises. 12,000 euros, not pounds, says Ricky. So he wasn't even on 12,000 English. Calafiori. Joba said, and people think Edu did well. Edu was a clown when it came to negotiations, constantly getting fleeced. Arteta was not the one giving these amounts. Edu was saying, players are worth this. Berta, help. I think Edu's got to take a lot of responsibility. Because managers are not supposed to negotiate contracts. Where you can maybe lay blame at Arteta is Arteta would have had a massive say on which players we get. But the contracts would have been down to Edu to negotiate. And he obviously, because he's an inexperienced sporting director, he's obviously just thrown the bag at these players. He probably felt guilty and thought, Mikel wants Zinchenko. I can't get it done at a reasonable price, so I'm just going to throw 150 at him. And he knows he can't turn that down. So this club is being ran by Josh, right? Josh Kroenke. Let's be honest. Stan is concentrating on basketball and American football and stuff like that. Josh is running the football club. Very inexperienced. You then got Edu as your sporting director. Very inexperienced. And then you've got Arteta. Very inexperienced. That is a recipe for disaster. Those three situations. You've got to break one or two of them and put a winner in there, which you hope Berta can be that guy. And you hope with time that Josh learns and Arteta learns if they're going to keep him, which they obviously are. So that dynamic has to change. Bottle Job said Kivior was on 2k at Spezia. He's on 55k now. Wow. Another huge pay rise. Mark said, hit the like button, guys, please. Big up to you, bro. Ricky said, half their paychecks are for walking and bathing win the dog. Dear. Highly want a criminal. Buy for potential. Pay for potential. It's Arsenal. I know a lot of Arsenal fans say this, you know, we're Arsenal. We don't buy superstars. We create them. I think that mentality needs to change. I think Arsenal have got to start buying top quality instead of trying to buy and develop. We're not an apprenticeship. We're not a college. We're not a development centre. Buy the finished article. You know, buy people that are ready to win things right now. Not somebody that in 2 or 3 years can be someone really good. We need somebody that's ready to hit the ground running and score goals and try and lead us to the title. That's what we need. Let me read out these couple of super chats, then we'll round up. Robertson and Simicast are up for sale. Yeah, I don't want none of them, my friend. Robertson's been brilliant in the Prem, but he's past his best. Aidan said, sell Kivior. Then we have MLS and Hato as our left backs. Have Gabriel and Calafiori as left centre-back. Sort out the backup right centre-back in January. Be interesting if Kivior stays, because he's probably, from what we hear, being linked with a lot of clubs in Italy. In terms of this, I'm going to put this link in the chat because people were asking for it. This is the chair that you was asking about earlier. So I don't know, is that Does it let you click on that link? Hopefully it does anyway. I'll show you the page. And this isn't a sponsored show. Somebody asked about it in the chat. As I said, man, it ain't cheap. It really isn't cheap. I mean, as you can see there, £239. But I mean, it's actually on sale. It was £339. BS14, you can get it in black or grey. It's a game changer, honestly. If you got the money, if you're at an office desk all day, I promise you, this was a game changer for me. And this isn't sponsored, so, you know, I'm not reading out no links or anything. People were asking in the chat earlier, what's the chair that they're using? And this chair has been like dynamite for me. Yeah, no, they did. They did sponsor the show. That's how I got the chair and stuff. They said, look, man, we'll give you the chair, the desk, all that stuff. But yeah, man, quality stuff there, people, if you want to get involved. Joba said, for example, Arteta wanting Havertz was a crime, but if Edu had gotten him for 25 million and on like 150 a week, would we complain? And that's a good point. Listen, we should have gone to Chelsea at the time and said, look, you paid like 75 million for him. It hasn't worked. We'll take him at a cut price deal and see how it goes, but we're not prepared to give you top dollar for him. We gave them 65 million for a guy that they paid 75 million for that had basically flopped for 3 years. I know he scored Champions League final, but we can't just say because he scored a huge goal he was good there. Chelsea fans were happy to get rid of him. So we should have been going, yo, hold 30 million. Hold 30 million for him. 35 mil. If you'd bought Havertz for 35 million, got him on a reduced wage, I would have been like, I still don't rate him, but at least it's not a deal that's going to hold us back massively. And you can sell him as well because the wage isn't too high and you didn't pay crazy money. He's one of our most expensive players of all time. Declan Rice, Pepe, Havertz, Aubameyang. So he's our third most expensive player in the history of the football club. How crazy is that? It's madness. What job said, I'm getting my channel set up. What camera are you using? What camera is this? It's a Sony camera. I actually don't know exactly which one it is. It's got quite the lens is I bought the lens separately. What camera is this? It's like a ZV. It's not the ZV1. It's the one that you can add the lens on. Is it E1 or E10? One of them. One of them Sony cameras anyway. One of them Sony cameras, bro. I'm not sure which one exactly, but they are good for streaming. You know the thing with this camera, right? And obviously I'm not the most techie when it comes to these things, but without the green screen, this camera looks 10 times better. Like, it looks way clearer. The green screen actually makes the camera not as good. So eventually, I'll probably get rid of the green screen. Or just maybe use it for certain shows. Because without the green screen, it looks so much better. But I'm going to get some shirts hung up. I'm trying to get some shirts framed. I always ask within the community first. Is anyone in the community, do you know anybody that frames shirts? Or maybe some of you guys do it. Maybe some of you guys do it in the chat. I'm trying to get some shirts framed and get all the setup behind. We could get a good setup rather than maybe the green screen, but bring the clock back. Yeah, man. They're good old days, man. The good old days. At least you knew what time it was, right? At least you knew what time it was. But yeah, we're gonna get some shirts framed and try and get a setup there. I have seen a few online, so Havertz frame shirt, bro. I'll be doing a giveaway if we got that shirt frame, that's for sure. People, I'm gonna get out of here. Oh, in the car days, you can't beat in the car, bro. You cannot beat in the car. In the car was quality. That's where it all started. Or outside the Emirates after a game. Pure emotion. I remember when we lost to Olympiacos, Europa League. I came outside, yeah, and I was just walking around before I went live. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe it. They were the days, man. The good old days. No microphone, just straight on the phone and all sorts. The torn shirt, yeah, it's still about. People, big up. Appreciate your support as always. Amazing support. 3,200 of you locked in. Big up the Twitch gang. Hit the like button. I will be back tomorrow. Friday. Hopefully we get some news. Obviously, I want to see what happens regarding this bid for Gyökeres. Let's see if the major press pick up on it. If it is real, we know we're moving. This would be the first offer that we've made officially for one of the strikers. If nobody picks up on it, then maybe they're capping in the Portuguese press. And if anything big happens, obviously, I'll go live tonight if anything big happens. Big up, everyone. Great show. We've been live for an hour and a half. It's flown by. Take care, everyone, and I will see you all tomorrow, people. Bless.